My blessed ones, I am in the heart of the world, even as I hold the world in my hands. One may guide the totality of a sphere, yet the individual parts may continue on the merry road of destiny. Free will within the confines of karmic law appears to mankind as a shrinking box around them, closing in. By prior exercise of free will, limitation upon limitation is built in to what once was a magnanimous gift of the infinite, whereby infinity as a conscious reality could be bestowed upon the manifest creation. Expand, O concentric spheres, crystal spheres of the etheric crystal of a planetary ideation blueprint. Thus once upon a time, the mist became the crystal. How evident is the crystallization of the mist, even in the crystal that is found in the earth. Thus a mystery is unveiled in the heart of the rock, and by science it is known that in the nucleus of every atom, of every molecule, a fire does burn. Thus, as the fire is sealed in the heart of crystal, as it were a prisoner of form, time, space, dimension, so is the divine spark within your heart encased, not alone by the density of physical temple, but by karmic skeins woven over and again as a gnarled knitting without pattern or precision. Thus, as you would not hold to light or place in contest the knitting of your astral body, I say to you, beloved, let the threads be unraveled and rolled again into separate balls of their various vibrations and colorations. Let the Divine Mother within you raise up a soul who begins anew the process of creation, even in the very moment of the darkest hour, when the world as a box is closing in for those who have not the vision of the mist that has become the crystal. Perceive then the aura of the crystal sphere. Perceive an ovoid that does manifest as an energy field around a sun center. Where you see this physical crystal sphere, you must visualize an identical one in another dimension to the side of it. Thus, wherever there is one, there is always two. One the unmanifest, one the manifest, Alpha, Omega. For some, the world is a toy, and they have toyed with Earth's energies recklessly, wantonly. They have not understood the world they build in which they encase themselves. Now the Avalokiteshvara Buddha, now the Buddha behind the Buddha, does appear before you in a sphere of light, and the tear in his eye, beloved, reminds of the depth of feeling of this presence of God, who does know and experience that for some, the weaving of the tangled gnarl of astral body and the wanton misuse of energy is, as it were, the coffin built by the misappropriation in base ignorance of the gift of free will and the gift of fire, crystallized in the mist, become matter. Some shall ne'er escape the cave they have created round themselves. Thus, our God does shed a tear, and we in the profound pain of knowing the parts of the whole of earth must also agonize in this hour, when the law, nor the grace, nor the mercy, nor the justice of it can afford these, who are gods surely in their own domain, any way out save the reigniting of the flame of the heart, for the flame is able to burn until that flame may crack the encasement, and by the flame, the heat thereof, the atomic energy thereof, clear a path that the soul may escape. But, beloved, wherewith shall the soul be known or know of the process of escape? The soul who has used already the ritual of denial as back knitting and backbiting. Thus, to erect the enclosure wherein there is darkness and extreme anguish and fear, for there is no candle within to light the way. This is the plight of many who have gone forth, sowers in the earth, oblivious to their accountability for using good seed, sowing it in good vibration, harvesting then in a mighty trump of victory as the sound of archangels and their legions welcome home the Son of God who is become the all, even in the all of this temporal life and world. How much more perfect can elemental life render the imagery of the crystallization of the Divine One encased in form. See then the condition of those who have sown in darkness. See then the condition of the Son of God, who, though encased in the same similar form, the same conditions and laws of physics limiting his comings and his goings, Yet we see a God is born, and not an anti-God, a living God-man, a manifestation of this law of the One. Therefore, I am that I am, the God in the earth, the God manifestation. I am part of every particle, yet not limited by any. I may enjoy myself in all of my bodies manifest as bhikkhus, sisters of the holy orders, all keepers of the flame. Therefore I am everywhere in the consciousness of God, in the divine spark within you. And the Avalokiteshvara God, ideation streaming forth in this hour, does heighten sense and solar sense awareness of the predicament of life, life that is God encased in form, seeking to save that which is lost, and life that has become trapped by its own law and gift of free will. How then shall life escape if there be no individuality to cry out for that escape, and if there be individuality left, if this one has no ability or knowledge to make the call? If I then should hurl by the power of God this crystal sphere into the infinite, either Elohim should catch it and it transcend time to be the infinite crystal, or it should find then surcease of pain in the highest rock upon the hills and mountains of this area, only to be shattered, and in that shattering the breaking of the mold of chaos, and the fire released should consume then a darkness sown by the profligate ones, the proud, the ungodly, the profane. And they and their own creation should be consumed by their wanton misuse of fire. The liberation of life is a mercy unto life. Life as God impelling, compelling, does therefore seek an end to the death matrix imposed upon it. Those who have identified with this matrix, having built it, continue on their merry way until their creation does undo themselves, disqualifying them forevermore as co-creators. Things are coming to a head. This is the heart of my message. Those found at the nexus where the mist becomes the crystal, they then shall sit in the seat of the mediator, universal light, who is Christ, the Lord. At the very moment where crystal is the mist, and mist is becoming that crystal, there is a realization of God. of the Word, of the power of Spirit, the wisdom of love, and immortality. And in the very same nexus, as it is a figure-8 flow between these spheres, so the crystal ascending back to the mist is an accelerating spiral of ascension's flame, a building within you, right within your heart, the secret chamber thereof. Therefore, to experience life descending and ascending at the very same point of the nexus, this is the experience. This is the self-knowledge of equilibrium, cosmic equilibrium. And at that point, one can be and know oneself as God above, God below, God in the center of the flow, holding the balance for cosmos, retaining the flame, guarding the flame here in matter. How art thou the Buddha now? O Chila of my heart, thou art verily, for I am the transparent sphere of body of first cause, of etheric blueprint. Thou art a crystallization of Alpha A. Therefore, we are one. We are one because the heart flame, thine own and mine, are one at the nexus. I would be in your heart as you would be in my heart in this year, 1988. The symbol of the 88 being twin flames establishing as above so below this crystal sphere. Blessed hearts, if you know it not in this hour, you shall come to know it indeed, that the necessity of establishing co-measurement by the crystal of self with myself does become more urgent, more obvious. Therefore I say to you these comforting words for that hour of a soul's desperation encased in a case of karmic limitation. Come unto me, for I would be with thee. I would be thy heart. I would strengthen thy heart chakra to be the diamond heart, even of Mary, Moria, and the blessed saints of Jesus, own longing and desiring. Thou hast need of me, beloved, beyond ken in this moment. Therefore I supply a way of endurance in this octave, a contemplation upon my form or image, re-establishing again and again, truly, truly, the equilibrium by the balance that is already mine, that I choose to make thine by secret overlay of electronic presence, impelling the divine spark within thee. to pulsate to the rhythm of eternal life of my heart, which I keep for all the world. Thus, my beloved, may this pattern of the divine image of threefold flame and very presence of that tripartite fire be to you the point of magnetization of the God flame, whereby the bird of the soul shall break the encasement and transcend all karmic limitation by oneness with the living Guru. For those then bound without a flame in the darkness of their creation, there is only one escape. It is the path of the master-disciple relationship. When does one know how far one has removed oneself to the coldness of outer space, far, far from the sun and central sun of being? One does not know, for all darkness is relative, whereas the light is absolute. Thus, beloved, in the unknowing state, not knowing oneself, but thinking one knows oneself, it is best, it is advisable, it is the better part of wisdom to choose the mantle of Padma Sambhava placed upon our messenger for good cause, for ancient service and discipleship unto this Holy One of the East. Take recourse in the mantle, knowing that it does take thee to the heart of Maitreya and the western Shambhala, my abode, and to Sanat Kumara and the Avalokiteshvara, and to the Great One of Mercy, Kuan Yin. Therefore, beloved, we do place in the crystal of the earth a mantle of Guru that is necessary physically to save that which is lost. It is the Avalokiteshvara consciousness that does descend upon you in this hour, taking you into the great spheres and spheres upon spheres of his causal body, that you might feel the heartbeat irregular of a planet off course, that you might know the heartbeat of God, listen to its sound only, accepting no other rhythm or sound that could jolt or take your inner system of light from the true sound, from the true sound of the music of the spheres. Peace, beloved. Peace, beloved. As these are trying times for chelas, these are also trying times for the one who wears our mantle, who must feel perpetually the agitation, the sorrow, and the abject evil in form on planet Earth, and even imported from other systems. Thus, in this moment and hour of transition, when you are impelled and magnetized by the central sun of Helios and Vesta, know then that the supreme acceleration which we would bear to your beings is an absolute necessity for survival. As time narrows to become infinity, so options also narrow, and one realizes that at the point of destiny in the nexus where time and space meet, eternity and are neutralized by it. Only the single choice is acceptable. There are no longer 500 options or 200 or 3 or 4. One right word is acceptable, one right act, one right choice, to be all light, to pour in the cups many, waiting to be filled, all light. In the time of greatest darkness of war and turbulence, those who gather in our mountain must also know that the pause to ascend by the seventh ray is the key to being in an octave and a vibration of safety. Thus contemplate the grand Teton. For we go there, this entire company, in an exercise of soul flight, swift to the heart of the mountain in time of necessity or danger. Let the mind become an arrow. Let the arrow be in the hand of the archer, thy Christ. Let the bow be pulled. Blessed hearts, see how suddenly the arrow of self, now working in the field where one is taken and another is left, does fly straight to the heart of the etheric octave, from the physical crystal sphere to the etheric, through the single opening, the only open door, the nexus, where thy heart, my heart, one, provide the tunnel of light. The arrow does fly, and you are in an instant in a violet flame chamber, hitherto undescribed. For there are many chambers in the mountain whose existence has not been chronicled or revealed. Visualize then the vast violet flame chamber, sufficient to contain all keepers of the flame of the earth and many more. A vast chamber of amethyst and quartz crystal, stalactites, stalagmites. Thus one senses descending from above, rising from beneath, pillars of violet flame crystallized in the rock, as so many ancient teeth of ancient dragon of Eastern wisdom. Understand then that violet flame, violet ray, is the frequency of the true and perfect vibration of planet Earth. Is then the violet planet the etheric sphere of this physical earth? Contemplate the mystery and determine to be at the nexus of the etheric sphere of planet Earth. Then understand the beloved presence, the devoted presence of Om Ritas and priests of the sacred fire of the violet planet who serve with the elemental beings and angels in a planetary abode which, being etheric, is as it were in its own counterpart of a quasi-physical manifestation, though not physical as you understand it. This, then, is a journey in transitions. As you are able to still yourselves of the night of New Year's Eve, will you not be reminded by my image or statue that the contemplation of the One and the meditation of the arrow's flight, the repeating of the visualization of the arrow's flight instantaneous to the violet flame chamber, is as it were a physical exercise. The mind becomes agile, the soul follows, embraced and braced by the desire body, desiring a haven of safety and surcease from world pain, desiring to have such a cave of light, of violet flame crystal. Where there is the desiring, beloved, is there not the counterpart reality? Can you desire anything that does not already exist in the heart of God and in the heart of the mountain? Blessed ones, it is a pity but understandable that many realize the increase of desire for spiritual attainment, co-measurement, and a fully conscious existence in the etheric octave in time of greatest planetary distress. Be it so, we understand. Where there is the breaking up of the crystallization of darkness, so worlds of manifestation are rearranged and some are shattered. Thus, to fly to the heart of the mountain, to be able to come and go at will, is this not your desiring? And does not your security or lack of it, does not your insecurity and suffering derive from the box of karmic limitation? And as you realize that you live on the surface of the earth and you contemplate millions of years of records, there does dawn in you the idea that some who could not make the transition to the etheric octave in full conscious retention of identity did flee inside the earth to escape the madness of the false gods on the surface of the planet and in the skies. And in so fleeing, finding therein a means of life, did remain, some evolving to a higher level and some to a subhuman level. Thus, layers of evolution upon planet Earth are as it were honeycombed. And in past ages, many came to the same conclusion that you have come to, that the most dangerous place to be in this solar system is on the surface of the physical planet. What with pollution, manipulation, unseen forces, and unwelcome visitors, is it not so? Thus, thus the Avalokiteshvara whose compassion is an infinite love beyond one's comprehension. Is it not in that awareness, is it not in that joy of the heart of that one that you discover a true allegiance to becoming immortal? And that immortality, beloved, that quest sparked by a dead and dying world, has given many an impetus to simply enter the invulnerable, untouchable octaves of light. Whatever then does impel thy ascent, daily seek the purification of the heart, that all thy sayings, doings, comings, and goings, and as thou dost stand as watchman at the nexus, are conceived and executed in the purest motive, the purest desiring, the purest beingness, the purest hope, the purest faith, the purest charity. Let the purity and the clarity of the crystal stream through life, stream through the coursings of thy soul. It is lawful to desire to ascend. Once one has fulfilled, then, the establishing of this goal and entered the Lords of the Seven Rays goal-fittedness program, there does occur, one's peace of mind is found in the sense of continuity of being, the desiring to be God, not as escape, but, as Moria was wont to say, for the very love of thee, for the very love of the divine lover. For this cause thou shalt desire to enter into the allness of God, and for this cause alone I say to thee, thou shalt ascend, thou shalt ascend, thou shalt ascend the holy mountain of God, until once upon a footstep, after many thousands of footsteps, the next step, beloved, shall be the crossing over, unnoticed, of thy soul from physical to etheric octave. No death, no dying, simply mounting until the fulfillment is come. Keeping on is a profound statement. It is made by all who have experienced the wonders of that moment when the very next step on the path has been to re-enter eternity, whence thou didst descend. Truly then, the grandeur of life immortal is thine inheritance, and the very definite option of free will unto those who know the ropes, that the key to the transcending of oneself, to the pulling of oneself up by one's bootstraps, is to place not one hand, but both hands in the hands of the Guru. Now this is the sign to remember, forming therefore the great sphere of light. Let it be then, as your hands come together, so make this form of the circle that I make in this hour. The circle of your hands coming together may reach above and take my hands then embracing and holding the upper sphere, your hands embracing the lower. Our hands meet now at that point of the nexus. You may visualize this calmly and sweetly and know 2 hands holding 2 hands is the closed circuit. In that moment, beloved, you realize that alternating with the current and the flash of light, you are disciple, you are guru. Each time for a single moment you experience the self as guru. You then return to the self as disciple, determined to retain by conscious attainment and mindhood, a greater and greater portion of the great Guru above. Thus, beloved, applying this comparison to the one who wears the mantle of Padmasambhava, here we have placed the preponderance of the self as Guru below, with the disciple above. Thus, the disciple who wears the mantle experiences discipleship in heaven, a tough course of chelaship in the inner retreats, and guruship on earth, a most challenging enterprise, a most challenging enterprise. Each and every one of you then must determine to pass the initiations of Christhood on earth, pulling and tugging, magnetizing by wisdom and astuteness and love, the higher self here below. And then, with the fortitude of the crystal, meeting every foe and enemy of that Christhood. Nothing shall prevail against thee, my beloved, when the crystal does become the aura. Is the crystal not then the deathless solar body? Oh, call to be and dwell in that deathless solar body, more sure than spacesuit or any conveyance of capsule or module. Blessed ones, when you wear your deathless solar body, you are prepared for any journey or flight. You are in training for that soaring to the amethyst crystal cave room at the Grand Teton. Oh, beloved, when we say this, then does reality disclose that many who study our words have neglected the weaving of the deathless solar body. Now then, being called to the order of the diamond heart, this diamond heart being composed of millions of facets of good deeds and exacting words. This, then, is a comparable path of initiation to that of weaving the deathless solar body, for that weaving is composed of an infinite number of stitches. And if this were physical, it would be a very thick knitting, inches thick. For after all, it is the soul's garment unto eternal life. The sphere of light of the base chakra provides the yarn for this knitting, and it is fully abundant unless squandered in unholy and ungodly action. Thus, beloved, attentiveness is more realizable in the order of the diamond heart, for one becomes instantly conscious by the gurus of this order when one is not creating a facet of diamond mirror. One by one, as octagon crystals, they form a diamond heart that grows and grows within you. One is conscious then when one does not create this facet, this mirror-like piece of the mosaic of the diamond heart. Thus, it is as though the building of the diamond heart were more concrete and a safer measure to the soul of progress. One can pursue both courses, and it is action whereby the weaving takes place of this garment for thy wedding day, wedded eternally to immortal light. By action, by word, as you go about the business of the Father, Mother God, you are weaving and knitting that garment, and the astral that was disappears. It is displaced, for this body is light. It has infinite strength, resilience, mother of pearl radiance. Know and see the beauty of this garment. Treasure it. It is the weaving of many lifetimes. Some weave slowly, some fast. Some return to their knitting in every spare moment. Some set it aside for years. O beloved, it is an hour of eternity. Eternity knocks and comes to you in the personification of Avalokiteshvara. The pressure of his presence of light surrounds me and all. All keepers of the light in the earth know his presence of comfort and know that in saving that which is lost, this presence of the God Buddha does therefore recognize those led astray, not originally of their own volition, yet certainly at some level by free will consent. Thus those yet bound by the snarls of the fallen ones whose judgment was pronounced at the throne of God, before and in the presence of Enoch. These then, having no continuity of being, yet enslaving others, while there is yet time and space, there is the hope and the present possibility for them to choose to be and to be rescued by that one who does extend himself throughout all of the darkest depths of miscreation. Thus it is a moment and a nexus. Thus it is an hour that you may reach also through the presence of Avalokiteshvara to save that which can be saved. We are still on that course as we were a year ago and eons ago. The priority of the hour is the saving of one's own soul. That in itself is the great challenge, and as you have been told, a mighty work of the ages. In that saving, if it is truly a saving, the better portion of thyself does live in the etheric sphere that is the cause behind the manifestation of the crystal. So centering oneself in that etheric sphere, the crystal that is below, that is also the extension of thyself in matter, may now become a habitation, a proving ground for many who may derive a sense of source, a sense of causal body within thine own. For those who have lost the way, or even lost the flame, or lost the thread of contact with hierarchy, your crystal here below becomes that haven longed for, that single log cabin in the vast stretches of the land of snows and endless hills and mountains, rivers and streams. And the one candle in the window of that cabin is thine own, burning strong in the physical plane. Thus, this activity here in America's wilderness, situated at its borders, is that haven, is that bourne, is that only crystal they shall enter, until they so do enter it and begin the process which I have described. You then are all a part of one etheric sphere. All of your service and love and causal bodies does comprise the upper sphere in this place for this organization. As the sphere is expanded, as you lend the momentum not only of your causal body and Christhood, but of a purified etheric body, it does become not only more pure and perfect, but more relevant to that which is below. And therefore more and more among those who have lost the way by forfeiture may then be drawn to it, may once again see reflected in the crystal sphere of the organization here below, that upper sphere, and in one glance, one glimpse, see and know their point of origin, and the day and the hour where they left off being in the higher octaves. This is a great gift, beloved, for your service does recreate then the reality of upper spheres and other worlds, quickening a memory, providing a nexus which is wider when many form this together. In that opening then, they may surely, in your services and in these dictations, actually rise to experience the higher octave briefly, yet never more to forget, but only to be haunted in the divine sense that that presence of heaven does not leave them or leave their memory until they utterly reject it. Free will reigns supreme unto the end of opportunity, when the individual has lost all opportunity by abuse. Thus, the day when opportunity runs out for the individual, it is the day when, as a co-creator, his creation of death does overtake him. And as it has been explained to you, it is the day of the second death, when that identity disappears from the graph of time and space or the heaven world. From the heart of Avalokiteshvara, I release to you then the thought form for the year 1988. This thought form is a vast tapestry where the great Buddha, Sanat Kumara, and Buddha upon Buddha of the mind of the Avalokiteshvara is in the center, surrounded by Buddhas of various octaves and hierarchies, and bodhisattvas, bhikkhus, brothers and sisters. Thus, this great tapestry, which is imprinted at the mental level, the mental belt of the planet, within each and every life stream, does show pictorially the way of the Guru-Chela relationship and how it has been translated in the earth through the path of Padma that leads to Maitreya, that leads to my heart. This tapestry then becomes alive and living, and it is open on all sides, so that in the out-of-the-body state, almost in the dream state of desiring an escape, the soul may step forth from the body and enter the tapestry. Those devotees of God Buddha at the extreme edges of the tapestry are those to whom Earth's evolutions may most easily relate. Thus, beloved, it is possible for the individual to choose to enter the tapestry, which becomes for him then a teeming cosmos of beings all on the path, all a part of this becoming, all approaching the heart of Sanat Kumara, and in that heart finding the nexus and the point of self-transcendence unto the One. The thought form of the year is the living, breathing reality of the etheric octave itself, and the place of the mystery schools that pertain to this path. Thus, beloved, by impressing by fire and water, by air and earth, by every form of element, by impressing in the psyche and the inner finer bodies of these images, the soul may find the way out. Heed the call, make the call, and extricate herself by two hands placed in two other hands out of the shrinking box of karmic experience or karmic finality. Blessed hearts, our beloved God, our beloved Avalokiteshvara, in the heart of the solar Logoi, have conceived this thought form as the way out for 1988. May the knowledge of the path of the Bodhisattvas, the disciples unto Christhood, the sisters and brothers of mercy, of wisdom, of golden ages, be made known, become popular, until all who count in the earth, because they count themselves worthy, shall be buzzing with talk of Maitreya's mystery school, that special place shown on the tapestry, where the outline of the mountains surrounding this our retreat, and the river and the valley floor, all are unmistakable, that on the way to the heart of Sanat Kumara, one can pass through a mystery school that is physical, for the refinement and the refiner's fire. For when the messenger does suddenly come into his temple, who shall stand in the day of that fire? I know who shall stand. It is those among you who fear not our fire, but understand the intensity of it through our mantle and messenger must at all times be measured by our co-measurement with the urgency of the hour. Blessed hearts, in sending you my blessings for a God-filled new year, I say to you, thy ascent is urgent. Accelerate now, for the mist and the crystal spheres are converging. I return to the point of the nexus, where I am everywhere in the heart of the living ones of God. Fear not, beloved, naught can assail thee. When thy garment is without rent, thy purity without compromise, thy integrity, the integration with God. With God. With God. let us feel our integration with our own etheric body and the great spheres of light of our causal body as we sing to the Buddha, Zarathustra. As you sing this song, you will come to the place when, as you extinguish the flame, you in the flame enter the etheric octave. Each time the flame is extinguished, it carries some portion of yourself and your devotions into this upper sphere, where you shall learn to navigate in this coming year. Now sing to Zarathustra's flame and see that flame as your identity.
Four, 6, 5.